and welcome to our live stream for Dexter episode 5. I am going to be a lot happier during this live stream. I will tell you, I am very happy with this episode. So my heart has been healed some. I am wearing my Dexter shirt that Carla got me for my birthday. So it's Bay Harbor. It's got the slice of life on there. It's got the body bags. Yes, so I
love
wanted to wear
it.
that in honor
It
of
was
this.
the perfect thing, and it just popped up, and I was like, yes,
I
this
was
is
so
destiny.
excited. I was so, and then I also got a. It's not where I can grab it, but I also got the American Psycho Patrick Bateman Funko Pop, which was amazing, and this amazing, awesome sticker.
Ooh.
And Michael C. Hall is just as sexy as he was in this episode. Hi, Panda.
Yes, he was.
He was so flippin' sexy in this episode. So here's a bingo card, Panda. If you want to play, we've already said Michael C. Hall Dexter is the free space. We've all laughed. I can tell you, I think pretty much almost everything on here is going to come up at some point. So yes, so I'm very, very excited to talk about this. I know my panelists are too. So I'm very excited that both Carla and Jen are here. I once again was trying to do the green screen. I had like my stand-up background, which was a brick wall. Jen said it was a stand-up background, but it delays me and it drives me nuts. So I just have to figure out if there's a way to stop that. I don't know if there is. Or I could just have a brick wall. What?
Because I can't. There needs to be a way because I need to hear your comedic stylings.
Yes.
You hear my comedic stylings every week. What are you talking about? Yes. So we will figure it out. But we're going to start this as we do every Dexter live stream. Carla, on a scale of 1 to 5, how many blood slides do you give this?
This one I think was a solid 4. I really enjoyed it. No, actually, I'm going to give it a 4.5 because I really liked it. There was a lot of development, a lot of cool stuff that happened. And one of my favorite characters from the original series came back. So that was very exciting to see. And I'm hopefully getting to the point finally where there are certain characters that I can stop calling incompetent. So very psyched about that.
Gee, I wonder who those characters are. And Jen?
Oh, well, this one. Oh my God. 5. I will give this one all the blood slides.
Yes.
I loved it so fucking much. Drove my husband nuts when we watched it the other night. It's like, yeah, when he mentions Miles, I just turned to him and I was like, I was just like, he's gonna kill Miles. Started freaking out. He's like, okay, relax. And yeah, so it had it all. And yeah, bringing in Angel, I gasped out loud, like someone who has been like, finally, like the chokehold had been released so they can breathe. I was just like, and I was like, oh my God. And then just all like the little kind of stressy moments reminds me of part of the reason why I loved the original run and everything was just fucking hurry up, do it. Let's just go. Oh my God. I loved it. So stressy. Some nice little twists and stuff. And they ramping up Kurt to be proper creepy and weird. So that's interesting. Yeah, I really liked this one.
That's yes. I give it a 5 as well, which coming from my 2.5 last week.
It's a serious turnaround.
Yeah. It is, man. I was really dreading this episode, I'll be honest, because of how I felt about episode 4. But this was so good, even though they're still setting Harrison up to be a potential killer, I was still fine with all of it because it was done so well. And there were so many things that happened that are setting up the rest of it. And I think it's great that this was like, even though they're not taking a break, they're not stopping at all. Like they have no weeks off for the 10-week run.
Thank
So
God.
even though they're not, this still would have been a great like mid-season finale kind of thing, which is what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that this was the last episode that we saw before we're recording a podcast episode discussing this tomorrow. So discussing the show so far. And I'm really glad that we are discussing through this episode and that we aren't discussing through episode 4, because that would have been very hard for me. Because as everybody knows, I was kind of a drama queen about it all. I went back
What?
to
You? No.
Shocking.
I went back to watch to get clips, and I'm like, "Geez, Aaron." It's not that
I
big
don't want to watch
a
Cocoon. I don't want Harrison to be a murderer.
See why it's so fun for us? Right?
I still think my panelists were a little too hard on me.
Were we though?
Way too hard. Yes, you were. Anyway, but yes, it was such an improvement. I mean, everything. And Michael C. Hall, that man, he was so good, and he was also, yes, just go ahead and you can dominate me. I will be the submissive in this relationship. It's perfectly fine. Go ahead.
Wow. Those are big words coming from you.
Handcuff me to that bed. You take charge. I'm fine. I mean, don't actually
I
kill
love
me,
it.
of course, but
Of course.
we
The
can.
guys have been chained there to your bed for weeks now. We're like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I know. Sorry, guys, but
Make room for one more.
but he gets to take control. So yeah. So that's yes. So tonight's the night. You get to take control. Sorry.
Wow. It's like you're writing like a steamy 80s, song with like jazz background.
Saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because
Sorry.
it's cheesy. Yeah, baby.
Oh, nice.
Erin's in the house, and she's here to say, Dexter, take control. Walking to the bed. Yeah.
I love it. Love the little
Look out for
song.
the next Blue Eggs release in 2022.
Yes, man. And Michael C. Hall, by the way, if you don't know, the end song over the credits, that's Michael C. Hall's band.
Really?
Ah.
Yes.
That was really
And
good.
they are called, let me look them up here because they have the most unique name. And I guess I saw an interview with him and he said it was his friend's kid came up with the name of the band. And it totally fits that a kid would have come up with the name of the band. So I'm going to have to find it.
I
And
love it
so-
when grown-ups let
The
kids
duet.
name things. That's always the best.
Yeah. So it's just another reason why you should love this man. Princess goes to the Butterfly Museum. That's the name.
I love that. I love that.
Yes, and that was his voice singing that song, I believe, too.
Wow,
So
cool.
see, just more reasons for him to
More-
tie me up to the bed. Anyway, before the whole show becomes about that,
Too late.
Mhm.
this episode was packed. I mean, just packed wall to wall. There wasn't a minute wasted, I think, in this whole episode. So, where we find it is, of course, Dexter has found. Sorry,
Whoa.
that's
Name
what I
of the
said.
Yeah.
Dexter found the straight razor that Harrison had. And then Harrison comes in and sees him holding that. But of course, there's that really creepy scene with Deb and Dexter. And the way Deb puts her hands on his shoulder was like the creepiest. And the way he like sighed and leaned back, I was like,
I know. I was like,
Okay.
"Ooh," like Ghost, but in a very creepy way. And also the brother and sister, which is another layer of creepy, but the show apparently has whatever. Sorry, I just got very in my head with that moment. I was like, there's a lot going on just right here. I don't know that I'm ready for more.
it was
And like I missed
flippin' weird.
seeing more of Deb in the episode.
Yeah.
also kind of relieved because I was like, this is getting a little very handsy.
I know. I
Yeah.
was like,
We don't need to
okay.
go there again.
We're
It
gonna
was
start making
really creepy.
pottery. Whoopi Goldberg
Start
gonna
doing
show up.
pottery. I'm just picturing that now.
It's quite the image.
Oh man, somebody make a fan video or something. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
My sibling.
Oh God,
I
no. Okay, stop.
couldn't touch
No.
Mute her. Mute her. No.
Okay, that is just uber creepy. Okay, let's go back to something else.
Please.
But so anyway, so Harrison walks in, finds he's holding that. They have like a thing, and then Harrison goes to a party. So I'm gonna just talk about Harrison first.
Of course.
So I still love Harrison. I don't give a crap. I love Harrison. Screw everybody. I'm just kidding. So Carla, what do you think about what they're doing with Harrison and the whole party scene?
You know, it was really interesting because now it's starting to make me think that maybe it was Audrey. Because it's just very okay, so like it's very far-fetched, okay? Like this whole thing is very far-fetched. But that I don't know, like it's making me rethink whether it was actually Harrison who did all of this, whether there was like more to the scene than we know.
Whoa.
Because
Sorry.
no, I mean, like, I'm probably wrong. It's just like I really like reading stuff into things. I really, really do. I like conjecture when it comes to television. I like pulling things completely out of like not just my butt, but just like passing butts. Just like, hi, sir, I see that you're trailing a theory that is probably very incorrect. May I please just tug, tug, tug? Here we go. All right. But you know, like maybe that there's something more going on with Audrey than what we can see. And maybe there's more going on with Harrison than we know. Maybe more stuff happened with Ethan. Who knows? But it really just highlights both how isolated Harrison has been his whole life from kids his age and how differently he's been brought up. Not just with the whole, you know, living in a whole other culture with somebody who, let's face it, it's not a traditional parent in any sense of the word. But also, he's had to pretty much raise himself in the last few years. So it's just, it I don't want to say like it made me necessarily more sympathetic towards Harrison, but it made me think, you know, we're not seeing the full picture. Like maybe there's something that we're missing that in retrospect will be like, oh well duh, that's what it was. That's my hope. But yeah, and just like the whole party scene. Oh my god. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, so all right, so here we have yet another instance of kids have nothing better to do than to bring their new out of town bestie to somebody's mom's basement and feed him drugs until he ODs and passes out. Like, really? The writers couldn't have come up with like a better way for Harrison to blurt out that, by the way, Jim's alive. There are other ways. There are other ways. And his tension with Dexter is just very believable. Not only because he's a teenager, but also because I don't know what he was expecting from Dexter when he, you know, hiked all the way up from Miami to apparently New York. Just still think it's like, okay, I don't see the New York thing. I just don't. I'm sorry. It does not look like New York to me. But, you know, what was he thinking would happen? Like, what kind of parent was he expecting Dexter to be? And, you know, like, how does that compare to what he's encountered? So, you know, because we're not getting we're getting a lot of Harrison's actions, but not a lot about his motives and not a lot about what's going on with him internally. So I would just be interested to know, hey, Harrison, what the hell? That would be nice. I'd like some details, some fill in the gaps.
Well, and maybe we will with the therapy.
Yeah, but that's also what's like the whole fact that we haven't seen a lot of what's making him tick is part of what's making me think, okay, well, could there be more to this? Because without that, we're just kind of like, we knew more about the Trinity Killer in the first
That's true.
few episodes than we have about Harrison in these 5.
Yes, but that's because Harrison isn't a serial killer.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So, Jen, your thoughts on Harrison?
Well, I did not read into the party nearly as deep
I know
as
I didn't
Carla
either.
did. Wow.
Nobody likes to read
like
into
that,
stuff as much as I do. It's a hobby.
I love it. So it's like now I have kind of some new stuff to kind of think about. But I mean, initially I don't know. I guess it kind of made sense from like a high school, small town kind of point of view. Like, the fuck else are these kids gonna do but drink and do drugs and celebrate like being alive and shit? And it's like, yeah, of course they'll do something kind of dark and fucked up like that and have a kill list party and written invitation only. Like, oh my god. Like, I think Carla, you had tweeted something about like, oh, this was dark, but then there was Heathers and
right.
and that's like, I love that fucking movie. So when it comes to these kinds of more tropey kind of cliche moments, the high school parties and the drugs and, kind of the more easy way to, like you said, for Harrison to blurt that out, I accept it for what it is. Except for maybe the one girl that's like, carve your initials in my foot. Like, girl, what?
The
is
hell
wrong?
was that? What was that?
That was, and I didn't know if that was something she actually said or if, because a lot of it was through Harrison's, point of view, if that's what he thought she said. I don't know, but either way,
maybe somebody just handed him a knife and said, "Hey, Harrison, can you please peel this apple for us?"
Yeah,
and he was like, "Okay."
That makes sense.
Peel the ankle, got it.
It's just what happens at parties. Somebody wants to make sangria, but they want to use fresh fruit, and they're like, "Hey, who?"
That always happened at high school parties I went to.
Right? Like Harrison,
all the time.
You just handle the potential murderer with a knife. Looks like you might be handy to peel an apple for us, would you?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I just thought, I mean, yeah, it's kind of an easy way for him to make that big kind of revelation in front of Audrey and everything. And so it served its purpose. It wasn't anything too, I don't know. I mean, I liked it. I didn't hate it or anything. We got to see Logan, like a lot more Logan in this episode, where like up until now, I just kind of thought like there were some things he kind of said and did in previous episodes where I'm like, I don't know about you. There was something off. I still think something's a little off with Logan. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we've been playing around with the theory that it's multiple people, like kind of with maybe working with Kurt. So you guys threw in Teddy. I'm like, well, fine, I'll throw in Logan then too. I don't give a shit. But I don't know. But this episode, it was nice to kind of see him step up and like be more of a cop and less of a coach and less of just almost, I don't want to say goofy because Teddy's definitely more goofy, but he's up until now, he just kind of seems, I don't know, silly or something. I couldn't take him seriously. But then when he busted out the "I am a vengeful dude" Miles, I was like, oh, well, hello, Logan. So yeah.
I mean, I was some handcuffs.
A sploosh gif when that scene came on because I was like, whoa. Okay, like I'm having conflicting emotions between abuse of authority and just plain out hotness. Like,
I can lend some pairs of handcuffs to all of you so that
good.
Sorry. It's like, that's your thing, Aaron. That's not our thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's so with Harrison, and then trying to like run away. And Carla, you bring up a good point. What was his expectations, coming up here? And we don't know his motives. And maybe that's part of the reason why I'm kind of liking him more and more, is because there's still that like mystery around him, so we can still like have fun with the theories and guess how many squirrels he's killed, and maybe if he like branched out into birds eventually or something.
It's okay looking at people, but stop with the squirrels and the birds and yeah.
But him and Kurt kind of getting together. Oh, that's sketchy. That's like sketchy as fuck. Mm-mm.
I don't like that at all. But well, I still love Harrison. As I said, I still maintain Harrison has not harmed an animal ever in his life unless he needed to eat it. Because of the way he is with animals is very different than the way Dexter is. I mean, animals don't seem to fear him anyway. So he has not killed a single animal unless he had to eat it. Shh. It's the truth.
I didn't say anything yet.
It's well, you're wanting to. I could tell you both were wanting to say something.
No, all that I was going to say was that like Dexter was very gentle with that deer.
Yes, but still, that's beside the point. Normally, Dexter is not good with animals, and animals aren't cool story. Thank you. But anyway, but the party scene, yes, I do agree that there's a better way to have had Harrison say, Jim's not even his real name, because I think Harrison would have said that sober. So I think there would have been a better way, like in the heat of anger or something like that with him, because he's already on the edge. And what I appreciate is that there's not a moment here where, like, I was really worried when Dexter found the switchblade, or not the switchblade, sorry, the straight razor, that they were going to sit down and have this deep conversation. They were going to start becoming buddies. They were going to get closer. And maybe like they were going to kill together or something. And I don't want that. I like the fact that Harrison is very angry at Dexter, and he's still very angry at Dexter. And he has every right in the world to be angry at Dexter. Dexter deserves all his anger, every ounce of it. So I'm glad they haven't stayed shy of that, or they haven't like shied away from that, and they haven't like made him all of a sudden become chummy. If anything, Harrison seems to be getting more and more angry with Dexter, and I kind of like that. And I do think it's because I think what it is, and I'm going to speak as someone who's had father abandonment things. I think what it is you have this picture in your head of like what it will be like if you get to see your father and confront your father. And then if you get to do that and it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go, it builds up that resentment. And I think that's what's happening with him. I don't know if he knew exactly what to expect, but now that it's there and it's real, and also the fact that Dexter is trying to be a dad to him, I think actually pisses him off in a way, because I think he was kind of expecting he would find this guy that he was in the first episode saying, I don't know who you're talking about. I think he was expecting that. And the fact that Dexter's trying harder is pissing him off in some weird way, because he's like, I don't want to care about him. I don't want to care about this guy. I'm pissed at him. He abandoned me with this serial killer. I mean, we don't know what happened with Hannah, but that kind of thing. So I think that's where some of that anger honestly is coming from too. And I want to say, I tweeted that Harrison at this party was like me when I'm on Benadryl, and I'm dead serious about that. I can't take Benadryl. I have I'm allergic to nuts except for almonds and peanuts. And one time when I was in high school, I ate some nuts or something, and someone gave me some Benadryl. And I took it, and I swear it was like I was high. It was like my mom talked to me and thought I was on acid. So it's like it has this very weird effect on me.
Damn.
So I just thought that was funny. But, the carving, the initials, I mean, we used to do really weird stuff like that at parties all the time. totally kidding. Totally kidding. But I kept thinking, is that real or not? And I think it's another one of those things playing into, oh, he's trying to fight these urges he has, this tendency he has. But I think if he was full blown there, I think he would have looked more like he enjoyed what he was doing, and he did not look happy at all to be doing that. He looked scared as hell. And I'm sure Dexter was like that too when he was young, sort of. But it seems different to me. It doesn't seem like the same thing. And the Audrey thing, never even crossed my mind. But I kind of like that because I don't like Audrey at all. I can't stand her. Yeah, I can't stand her. I hate her. But yeah, so I'm excited to see where Harrison goes. I do not like Harrison being friendly with Kurt, and I don't want Kurt to be a father figure to him. But I think that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think it may end up either like he ends up killing Kurt. I don't want that. I want Kurt to die. I want Dexter to kill Kurt. I will be perfectly fine when Kurt dies, to be honest, because Kurt is icky. So I'll be fine when he dies. But I just don't want him to get close to Harrison because I don't know. I don't like that. So that's the one thing that bothered me. I still give it a 5, of course, but that's the one thing that really kind of bothers me is I don't like that. It makes sense, though. I will say, though, it makes sense only because Harrison is desperate for a father figure, and he doesn't want to get close to Dexter. And so it makes sense that he would pick another serial killer.
All he knows.
Exactly. That's all he knows for parental figures or serial killers.
He's just drawn to them. Yeah.
I was going to joke about it, but like the whole like born in blood thing, like there is some truth to that where he's been mostly raised by this parent who has, just been kind of shady, like sneaking around his whole infancy and toddlerhood and everything. He has this other parent who, whether he knows or doesn't know what she's really all about, there are certain behaviors that I don't think Hannah could just shed like that just because she's raising a kid suddenly and living in another continent. It's like, that's not how that works. It's not like a SIM card. It doesn't just stop working. We didn't recognize your Verizon chip here, man.
No more killing for me.
Oh, darn.
Out of range.
Out of range.
So it's like, like that memory, like, there's a familiarity in the way that Kurt is and the energy that he exudes that Harrison might be drawn to because it's comforting and familiar. Mm-hmm. Even though it's terribly unhealthy, it might just be like, it feels like home, like, okay, I can work with this. Mm-hmm. And it's also not the person that I have sought out, but also really hate right now.
Yeah. Okay, well, before we get, the two big things I'm saving are the reveal at the end. That'll be the end. And then Dexter finally being Dexter and giving into his dark passenger. We're going to save that for towards the end just because I won't be able to form words if we don't. And Jen will probably just explode. So, okay, so I want to get to I'm just going to laugh at this because the way podcasters are shown in this show is the most laughable thing I have ever seen. I realize these are true crime podcasters, and I don't understand that. I'm not a true crime podcaster. But this woman, and I don't know if there are podcasters. I'm sure there are podcasters like this that go and have spa days or something. I don't know. I'm like watching her. I'm like, wait, should I be rethinking the way I try and get guests on this show?
You mean you're not personally going and like hunting them down where they live?
Stalking, little light stalking.
Yeah. A little light stalking, yeah. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm gonna show up outside there. Hi, I host a podcast. You want to
Don't
come
for-
on?
Don't forget your cocktail bag bar first thing.
Yes, I have cocktails here. I have my recording equipment. Let's go. Come on, let's
Knock this
go.
out.
Yes, as a pop culture podcast, I'm sure all the people that I'd want on this show would be very excited if I did that.
Yeah.
Totally.
But I just want to talk about Molly Park just for a second, just because. Do you think they're just saying this about because there's actually a podcast being done by the people that helped make this show, like Dexter? So I think it's in. So I'm thinking they're just trying to attack true crime and our obsession with that. But it's so illogical because as podcasters, trust me, I wish I was like banking and I could like this was like my whole life. Trust me, that's what I want my whole life to be. But it's not. And so I don't know. I don't know. Just
Just to
Molly
clarify
Park.
for the audience,
Sorry.
what Erin is saying is that she would like that those kind of deep pockets. She doesn't
Oh yeah,
want
no, I don't
the
want to
stalking
stalk.
lifestyle and the
Thank-
entitlement. Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant that too because I don't want to be like her. I don't like her, but I meant like the deep pockets and being able to just live like
You just got her credit card.
Yes, I just want her credit card. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to be sleazy like that. So, thank you, Carla. I don't want future guests to be like, I'm not coming on there.
I'm going to watch this one live stream and take that one bit completely out of context.
Yeah. So thank you, Carla. Yes, to clarify, I just want the deep pockets, and that's all I want. I don't want to be like her. But Carla, what do you think they're trying to say with this Molly Park character?
I think it is in part about the fascination with true crime and how the lines can be blurred between entertainment and justice seeking and just truth seeking and entertainment derived from the suffering of others, and that is a fair discussion to have. I think that they are just kind of beating it over the head, in regards to podcasting, because the issue here, whatever your feelings are about true crime podcasts, the issue here is Molly and what she wants out of this, and what her motives are, and how much she already knows versus what she's already revealing, because it's just interesting that Harrison has no idea about the podcast until they're all sitting at the table, and she's there, and brings up her very successful true crime podcast. And Audrey is like, "Oh yes, I listened to this podcast, and I'll send you the link so you can listen to it, Harrison." And Harrison just happens to, like, the first episode he happens to see is about the man who murdered his mother. So, and this is partly why, as much as I think that they're kind of running the bit into the ground about podcasters and true crime, I also think that maybe there's something more going on with Molly, because it just seems too coincidental that Harrison just happens to listen to this podcast episode about the Trinity killer right before it just kind of cuts away to suddenly his friend is stabbed and he's stabbed, and we don't know anything about what happened at all in the middle. And again, Audrey's involved in that, so maybe just pointing that out there. And then Molly just happens to see the board with all of the missing women. She just happens to find a way to kind of intrigue Angela into following her lead. Just happens to be there when the credit card information came through, and just happens to say, "Hey, well, let's actually go to New York. Let's just do this. I happen to have this like unmaxable out credit card I'll pay for everything, and what we can go and chase down these leads, and I can be like a super creepy bully for you for this. And just happens to be that there was like this missing people's conference,
Yeah.
and the person speaking at it has been on the Trinity case, and just, oh hey, would you look at that, dude knows your boyfriend from a previous life. So like it's just like a lot of coincidences happening with Molly. I don't like her. I very much do not like her, but I do wonder, beyond the trying to make some kind of moral stance about true crime podcasts and true crime as a genre in general, what her purpose is.
Yeah, because there are a lot of, I mean, that is a lot of like too many coincidences add up to that it's not a coincidence anymore.
Right.
Like a lot of the stuff she's doing.
Even for like
you know.
just moving the storyline along, and because how many episodes is this season? Is it like 10, 12?
It's 10.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I can excuse so much, but that's a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
And I mean, it could be a red herring because like it's like a very noticeable a lot, but at the same time, maybe it's also not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe she just applied for that podcaster credit card. Where's my application?
No shit.
You don't ever have to pay for it. This is your podcaster. Whoa. When you're a podcaster.
Throwing shit already. Damn.
When you're a podcaster, after a while, you get a credit card, unlimited, and you don't have to pay. This is the dream, people. Make this happen. It sounds
very, very real and very, very doable.
Yeah. I do still think, though, that as pop culture podcasters, I am dead serious about this. I do think we should be allowed to claim streaming services on our taxes, honestly, because we use it as podcast prep. That's why I have so many. So I think we should be allowed to. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Fergie. Fergie came to join.
I agree. Yes. Damn.
Let's go mark about this with our microphones.
Yeah, with our microphones. So, Jen, what are your thoughts on Molly Park?
Well, she's really obnoxious. And when they're sitting at the conference and the one guy turns around and she's like, she's like, oh, I'm a podcaster and it's called Marry Fucking Kill. And I'm sorry, but every time she says her podcast name, I always think of Bed Wed Behead. So
same.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, when she was trying to forge before we even knew about Molly Park, we were just like, that's a person.
When she first showed up and said the name of her podcast, like in that whatever episode, I instantly thought of you guys. I was like, oh my God, totally not the same thing, but it's similar. But
we're slightly less obnoxious.
Oh yeah, slightly, way slightly,
just a little bit,
just so much slightly. Yeah, I don't care for her and the way she goes about things and the way she's trying to like sweet talk like the hotel concierge manager guy or whatever. I did like that. Then Angela came up and just slapped her badge thingy on the ground or on the counter. But yeah, Molly, she's too perky. She's too annoying. I can't. It's too difficult. I can't do that. Just personality wise, But yeah, then she's at the conference and she's like, "It's called Marry Fucking Kill. You'd love it. Listen, blah blah blah. Rate and subscribe." I'm like, oh God, that's like, as someone who sucks at like self promotion, like it's super cringy for me, and I can't. Oh, I'm like embarrassed for her.
Yeah,
but I don't know if they're like trying to say anything. I mean, maybe something more along the line specifically to like the true crime enthusiast podcasts and stuff like that, because I dig on true crime as well. And so I can see them trying to be like, oh, y'all are a little fucked up and this is what you look like to the normies or whatever. So I don't know. I don't like how there was something else I was watching and someone was a podcaster and they were being portrayed in a very like annoying fashion. I'm just like, why? We like the new like investigative journalists or, private eyes. Like no one can take us. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't like that in general. So yeah, I just wish Molly, they would have toned down the obnoxiousness on her character, but it will be interesting to see if all these coincidences will add up, or if it is a red herring. Because I could see that too. You know, Carla, like you said, it's a bit too many also at the same time. So, because even in like the preview, Dexter mentions, who's doing this or whatever. And he's like, could it be the podcaster from out of nowhere? So the fact that they chose that clip and that soundbite for the previous or for the preview and stuff kind of makes me think like, maybe not now.
Right. Exactly.
I have TV trust issues and I don't believe anything they say or do until after it has happened. Deaths always have to happen on screen. Yeah, that's about it.
No, it's true though. Like I just finished watching a show where there's a character that they left for dead twice, and both times I was like, well, clearly he's still alive, and it's like, oh, there he is.
I hate that. Yeah. Well, the other thing I think they might be doing with her as far as like commentary is also, commenting on people that love Dexter, honestly, and that really like Dexter as a character. I mean, I started this whole thing talking about how hot all of that was. And I'm not saying at all, like, I don't think real life serial killers are hot. I want to clarify that. I don't think that at all. But there is a thing about that with our true crime obsession. Like our true crime podcast episode where we talked about true crime podcasts, for some reason, that thing, and I thought it was just because of the Zodiac stuff that came out, because all of a sudden it became popular. That episode has stayed our most popular and just keeps gaining listens and listens and listens. And it was never, a while ago, it was never near our top 10. And that's our most popular episode. And we're not even a true crime podcast. So that just leads me to believe that people really do like this stuff. And so I think the podcasts that are probably most talked about or well known or mentioned in the media are true crime podcasts. They just are. I'm not saying they're the most listened to necessarily, but they are the most popular or talked about a lot. And I know when in the first Halloween movie, the 2018 Halloween movie, not the very first 1970s, I don't think they knew there would be podcasters. They have podcasters in that one who are true crime podcasters as well, who kind of are the ones who kind of start the whole chain with Michael. And they did the same kind of thing with them where they were kind of sleazy. They also had lots of money. Like they bribed Lori to let them in to talk to her. And they also did something podcasters would never do. They're recording their episodes while they're driving in the car, while they're in the noisiest places possible. I'm like, your audio is going to suck.
All I could think about was like, oh God, the editing.
I know.
It take days.
I know. The first time I saw it, I didn't think that as much as I did the second, because the first time I wasn't podcasting. And then the second, I'm like, oh my God, never in a million years would I be driving in the car and recording an episode. No, I've had a panelist on that was in the car while recording an episode. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but sorry, it was Fergie's right here. And I'm worried she's going to knock into this green screen and knock it over.
And then we see everyone all chained to your bed.
Yeah. And then it's all revealed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they are trying to set it up for something more, like she's actually there investigating something else and not what we think she is. And maybe she has all these things that she knew Angel was going to be there, which we're going to get to here in a second. But first, I'm going to see if Fergie has anything to add. I'm just going to try and get my microphone out here. Fergie?
Oh my gosh, she does the best Dexter impression.
I knew you were going to say that. Because I don't know what that sounded like. So.
It sounded like this.
Yeah, that was Dexter. I'll let that mouth breathing thing happen. I knew it was going to come up. So, okay, bye, Fergie. Thanks for stopping by. Oh no, she's not leaving. Um, she wants to be on the show. I told her,
She
at one
does.
point we'll do a podcast just with the animals. We'll do a
Aw.
live stream, just the
With
dogs.
my
and the
cats and
cats.
My kids really want to be on like one of the live streams, and I'm like,
Aw.
no. And they're like, can we watch? I'm like, no. So that'd
We
be
will-
a
the
family
dog
friendly
one.
pet,
Yes,
pet
we'll
kids.
do a pet one.
What a mess. Talk about an editing nightmare. Jesus.
Oh my
Christ.
god,
Right?
that would never be released as an episode if it's being live streamed.
All of them
Patreon
talking
only.
over each other. All of them like, okay, can I talk about Minecraft for 2 hours?
My God.
But Angel was on this episode, Angel, and I want to know, we were all very excited about that. That was the one thing that I was the first one of us that, because we all watch it one time before we do the live tweets. And I was the first one of the three of us to watch it. And it was so hard to keep that in. That was probably the hardest thing to keep in of all of it. So, Carla, how excited were you?
I was so excited. I couldn't contain myself. I was like, oh my God, I was like squealing and just having the sweats, I couldn't help myself. Oh my gosh. First of all, he's just so great. He has this delivery that's hilarious and also very very strong. He has such a presence. And he's still pretty handsome. Like it's been a million years. And also he didn't mess up his hair. So clearly it's not a Miami person thing. It's a Dexter thing. Like Dexter has made questionable choices in his past, but the hair really ranks
Hair.
up there.
No,
Mhm.
Fergie. No, you're gonna not.
But
Sorry.
I love
Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself. Sorry.
but I love that he shows up at this very crucial point in time where, Angela, who has been just completely unable to even smell a red flag on Dexter. But now she has people, pointing these things out to her. And if it's in part Molly, who has maybe already connected all of these thoughts and is just kind of like feeding them to her, like, okay, take the bait, then that's amazing. And just the way that that Angel, like that exposition moment where it's exposition and it's also funny and there's flirting and it's just all him. Just that's just, oh, I love him so much. But he's like, cute kid. What's his name? I don't know. I'm gonna walk away and think about Harrison. And it's just, like, what are the odds? Like, here comes the Harrison.
Fergie.
And there's a Harrison there, Harrison here, and a Harrison there. Here, Harrison there, Harrison there. Anyway, so just
everywhere.
Harrison's everywhere, yes.
Harrison's everywhere.
I was so happy to see him. I was really glad that they brought him back. I mean, he's also one of the few people that they could have brought back, seeing as how they killed everybody else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And Jen, I know you were super excited.
Yeah, it was all right. It was fine. No. Oh my God, I fucking loved it. As I said, I squealed and I attacked this is the one where I gasped out loud. Like someone had just
Are you crying?
sucked all the air out of me, and I was just like, got it all back. And it was a delight to see him, but it was also very, very stressful because I'm like, I don't know what's going to end up being revealed during this, so, my husband's like, oh, maybe he's going to talk about, the Bay Harbor butcher when he's up there, and all the, and start dropping all these other things. And Angela's going to start picking up on it. No, it's just going to be a straight on fucking conversation about it where he just directly tells her about Trinity Killer. And I'd also like to say that one of the things that I love about this season is how they're just like, you know what? Fuck the rest of the season. Fuck the rest of the seasons. Trinity Killer, it's where everything ends. Like, we're not even going, nope, that's all people want. They want the Trinity. They want Lithgow. They want, that first half of the series kind of all wrapped up. No one gives a
Much like
shit
many
about
viewers.
anything else. Yeah. So I love that he brings up the Trinity killer and then how it all happens. And then, yeah, when he's like, oh, I can't remember the kid's name, I was like, oh my God, it's not going to happen this episode. And before I could finish the goddamn thought, he's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Harrison. I was like, ah, ah. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's what I thought
Oh,
too.
it
I
was-
was like, it's not going to happen. And it's going to be, and then,
Oh yeah.
But that's the beauty of having such a short season, is that these things need to just let's crank this out. Let's just put all of
Yeah.
this all, and it's I hate when something gets dragged out for like 4 or 5 episodes just because they need to fill in that 23 episode order. And it's like, no, this is perfect. 10 episodes. Just, give me all of this in one heaping serving.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Agreed.
no, I wasn't. Sorry for this distraction. Fergie was just like, and she was even crying. And if she was still here, I would have had her just cry into the microphone. So, oh, she's back. So
It's like you rang. Yes, mother.
she's back. I don't know what she
She's
probably
like, oh,
needs
is it
to
my
go
turn
outside.
to be on the podcast?
Yeah. I was so, like I said, it was so hard not to put that in our private DM because, and that's why, and it was, and the official site spoiled it. Like, I mean, after I'd seen it. And so I was like, oh gosh, you can't look at that site. I'm like, dang it. Why'd you have to do that, guys? Just wait a little bit. I wait just like a couple days.
It wasn't even 24 hours.
Yeah.
I know. I was really kind of surprised they did that because when the show first started, they even like did this long thread of like, don't do spoilers, wait at least 24, 48 hours. And then they do this big, huge one. I'm like, seriously? But I was very excited. I'm hoping it's not the only time we see him. I would love if he came back. I don't know if that'll happen, but I would be so ecstatic if he came back and he saw Dexter. I want that. That's what I want. I want him to see Dexter because
I want him
to know.
extradite him to Miami.
I was so scared that maybe and maybe it could still happen where, Angela and maybe she's like, oh, well, why don't you come back to the station, and take a look at the board and then exactly, Carla, exactly, and then have some weird, and I don't even care, it could be like a weird kind of Benny Hill thing where they just keep passing each other and never actually see. But that stress level and that anxiety, oh my God. I don't know why I love it so much because I don't like actual anxiety, but I love my TV anxiety because I know it'll end. I know when it'll end too. But so there's still maybe potential for that heart attack. So we'll see. But yeah. I wouldn't mind more Angel.
Yeah, I know, me too. And I'm going to see if she'll cry on I don't want to make her, I'm not like, she's not like in pain. What do you think of Angel? What do you think, Fergie? What do you think, Fergie?
And I thought I was excited about Angel.
She's not in pain, everybody, because I know you can't see her, so she's not in pain, I promise. She's just trying to get me to stop doing this broadcast and pay attention to her. And so she's a very vocal dog. So sorry, I just had to do that because I was like, I can probably get her making a noise that's not just breathing. So we'll talk about that then, since we're already talking about the sort of reveal there. So then eventually, and I think it was already in her head, of course, she's like, Harrison, that's so weird. And then, of course, she goes home and Audrey happens to say, oh, God, Harrison said the weirdest thing that, that's not, Jim's not really his name and all that stuff. And then what I liked was that she's like, instantly. And I think part of that is maybe she's not smart as we thought. And then I think the other part of it is that she also listened to what Angel said when Angel said, just pay attention to your instincts, listen to your instincts. And she did instantly. And then she prints out that picture from the obituary of Dexter. And that was beautiful. That was, especially since you had the Dexter Fergie. Sorry, she's just like, she's like, seriously, she's trying to play. Especially since you had the, Dexter voiceover during the whole thing. That was amazing. So, do you think, going off of the previews, do you think she's going to be like extremely suspicious of him, or is she going to believe any excuse he gives her?
I don't think he's going to need to make very many excuses in the beginning. I think she's going to see it more as, oh, you poor thing, you've been traumatized, like, I'm angry that you didn't tell me about your past. But I can kind of see how, if this dude killed your wife, how you may have just wanted to disappear off the face of the earth. So I think that's kind of where it's going to be, or it's going to lead at first. I don't think that she'll really see everything that it implies for a little bit, especially because they didn't bring up the butcher yet. Like, they haven't really, but like, once that happens, and it's going to happen, because I bet you it'll be Molly Park who drops that one. Exactly. That's her show off that merch.
That I have nothing to do with, but I'm just...
But yeah, I really think that that maybe the next episode, maybe even 2, will just be about this, because with when Harrison came back into the picture, I think everybody thought that, oh, she's going to have like this huge angry fight with him. She's going to be so angry and all of that. And then she didn't. And I think that this might be similar, where she's going to be mad that he kept all of this from her, but it'll be more from like, we're in a relationship and we should talk about stuff. Not so much in a, could you possibly be a murderer?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. She's a very understanding person to a fault.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
See, I don't know.
Exactly.
I think this time she's gonna get fucking pissed. Now, she may still end up forgiving him, but maybe keep him at an arm's length, and still kind of listening to the sage words of Captain Batista of, follow your instincts. And then also that the suspect, the Bay Harbor Butcher suspect, was someone within police law enforcement. So I think this one she's gonna get like actually legit pissed. I think they'll be able to work kind of through it, but I think she'll still maintain her suspicions. So I think pacing wise for the show, I could see that kind of going on for like this episode, maybe a little into like the next one, so into like episode 7, before her confidence in anything Dexter has says really gets like shaken to the core. I think she's gonna kind of start picking up these little breadcrumbs that maybe Molly's leaving out or whatever, all these little coincidences, the dots. She's really gonna start taking a look at it. She might even look more into the Trinity killer case and everything. Who knows? So I think I don't think she's going to be as like chill as she was about Harrison. I can almost see understanding that kind of, having that kind of reaction. It's a very like adult and mature one. I'm not saying I'm capable of it. I'm just saying there's probably people out there that are, but I think this one, not necessarily a deal breaker, but shit's cracking. And I think that, she'll be able to be like, okay, well, that's kind of fucked up. Your sister died and everything, you wanted to get away, but faking your own death, obituary, that's a bit extra. That's some shit like, I don't know, a serial killer would do.
And also as a parent, like this changes the whole Harrison backstory. It's like, okay, it's one thing, blah, 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 whatever, but it's a whole other thing that you just did to your child. So, I wonder if he's going to go with amnesia. Maybe he'll be like, oh, I had amnesia for a couple of years.
A secret twin.
Amnesia. I will be very upset if he went with amnesia. I'd be like, I'd be like, this is
But it's just occurring to me that what if, okay, follow me here.
Yes,
What
Carla
if,
theory time.
what if what's actually going on, okay, is that Molly, who has all of these pieces that she has conveniently put together as a pretty good, actually, investigator, even though we hate her because she is obnoxious, maybe all of this is born out of a life's mission that started when Dexter killed one of her parents,
I was thinking that too earlier. Yes. I think that could be it.
right? Like maybe she has like a vested interest in bringing Dexter down, like not even to justice necessarily, just like down in whatever form that takes. And all she's doing is putting the pieces together on the chessboard for it to go checkmate. Is that what happens in chess? Whatever.
Yes.
This whole thing where it's like, ooh, Dexter, bye.
Chester.
Chester.
That's what he should have named himself instead of Jim.
Right? What's your name? Dexter. Chess.
Not Dexter, not Chester.
And then he could have easily covered up and been like,
with the evil twin theory.
Oh my God.
I'm Chester, not Dexter. I'm the evil twin.
Happens all the time.
He's gonna have like an evil mustache or like a little...
That's with the hair. That's why the hair. Because he's the evil twin.
Yep.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I won't add much on that. I mean, as far as like how she's gonna react or anything, I think it'll be a mixture of both. I mean, she has to get a little bit angry. She has to be a little bit upset about that. I mean, come on.
Please.
So I think there'll be a mixture there, but I don't, obviously, since it's just the 6th episode, I don't think it's going to be like the thing that brings Dexter down right away. I really don't think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be one of the many little puzzle pieces that come together to bring him down, because I honestly, even though the ratings for this show, like the amount of people that have subscribed to Showtime just for this show is the highest they have ever seen. Jen's pointing to herself.
Yeah.
So that's the highest they have ever seen. So they're thinking we've got to do something to get a second season, because they had filmed it all before this premiered. So it's not like they were necessarily planning that. But I still think Dexter is going to somehow get caught. But But anyway, I just want to throw that out there. I know it's not what I want. A lot of people want it. I don't want it, but I don't know. I have a feeling because of money, it's a business. So yeah. I can see that happening. But okay, so I want to end on, because I have a dog that's going nuts. Because she's like, I know you loved this episode, so I'm gonna make this really hard on you. So Dexter finally killed again and tried to kill a lot of people, and Dexter was Dexter through this whole episode. I don't think we got a second of Jim in this episode at all. So Carla, before I get to Jen and her screaming and her exploding, and
I'll move the mic away.
What did you think of Dexter in this episode, and also Michael C. Hall's performance in this episode?
Well, I think that it's no coincidence that Angela wasn't with Dexter so much in this episode, and so he's more himself, because he doesn't have to play at anything. He does for Logan and for the receptionist and all of that, but that's nothing that he's not used to. But it's also not the people who can ground him. Like if there's one thing that he hasn't really talked about in this season, is how he actually feels about Angela. He's because in the series he talked a lot about Rita, and how like he didn't really have these feelings for her, but then he kind of did later on. And Deb, how she was like the only person that he actually like loved. But with Angela, like there's been no insight into how he actually feels about her. but even with that lack of information, we do see that he seems to be like really trying,
Mm-hmm.
um, more when she's around. So it's just kind of interesting how, uh, when that person isn't around, he just leans really hard into his dark passenger and his dark tendencies. Um, I it was so frustrating watching this episode because like Jen and I were tweeting at each other how, like, okay, so he just drops the syringe.
He just threw it. What the
I know.
fuck?
I know.
Are you
Your
kidding me?
fingerprints all over it?
I
You
know.
were
Yeah.
just at
He
the
did a lot of
one-stop
things that
shop
were.
vet? Oh my god.
Yes,
Just
like,
run around Miami in your
He
kill
did a
clothes
lot
all
of
over again.
Right?
things so
Jesus.
it's the
stupidly.
same thing.
I
But you
loved
know,
it so much.
like on the one hand, it would have been kind of hard to like hide the syringe on him if they're gonna pat him down or anything. But still, there has to have been a better solution. He's done this a million times before. I know that he's very, very rusty and it's coming through loud and clear because what is that? And when he's, he has just seen how Logan just the veneer of like happy-go-lucky coach
Mm-hmm.
completely evaporates when he's really seriously angry and protective for one of his kids. Um, and he doesn't factor that in when he thinks that Logan is just going to wait placidly for a warrant, as if he hadn't just, basically unlawfully threatened somebody who he had in custody. Like, how did you not make that connection, Dexter? I mean, like, you used to be so good um at reading these things ahead of time, like staying a couple of steps ahead. And he doesn't, when he gets to Jasper's, he doesn't scout out the place like he usually does. He doesn't do any of the legwork that he usually does. And I get that, it's like it's his kid and everything, and parents don't always make the most rational choices when their babies are
When they're getting ready to kill people, that it was.
generally not. But when the babies are threatened, like
I'm just thinking rational. You have your kids because this is something
rational
that
babies
happens
is
all the
like
time with
often the
parents.
All
people
the
who tick
time.
off- who tick me off about my children. No, but like as angry as I might get at a parent of a child who has like wronged my kid, and as like in the moment I might say something that I regret, the parallel with Dexter is that he is, like killing before he has really processed anything, because he was very ready to kill Miles, not thinking, oh hey, there's somebody else behind Miles. Not, I mean, he came from Miami. He can't be that just like, oh, the world of drugs is completely foreign to me. Fred, come on,
Yeah.
come on. So, but it is interesting to see him not be this like perfect killer, this perfect machine anymore, having, all of this time and distance between him and then, and also like the added level of heightened, um everything that comes with being a parent. um so in that way it is very believable. It's frustrating as hell, but it is believable. And Michael C. Hall is great. He's just always great as Dexter. He never really makes him likable or sympathetic. He's just a killer doing killy things, but he's interesting. He's very interesting, and this is why we're all tuned in. This is why we're all, sitting here and on a weeknight talking about this murder dude, is because he's
What's a murder
fascinating.
dude? Yeah.
I love this
Yep.
murder dude. I love him. Oh God. I was thinking about this earlier, Aaron. We were talking about before the series started. I was like, you need to calm down. You're gonna get mad and disappointed. I was like, it's probably gonna suck. I was like, it's not going to be any good. We shouldn't even watch it. And now I'm just like, oh my God, give it all to me right now. I want it. Give it to me. So that's where I'm
funny.
at. So
I
yeah,
feel
when
that.
so when he went to go kill Miles, like he didn't give him enough. He didn't have enough in the syringe to knock him out, clearly, because like Miles still kind of put up a little bit of a fight. Miles even said, what was that? And grabs his neck. So because Miles never got completely knocked out, and then he's like, throws the syringe and then on to plan B and beating him up and everything. I'm like, did you really truly even intend to kill him? Because you did not give him that. You just went and got to fucking supermarket sweep the local vet's barn and grab all the things.
That was amazing. Loved that show.
Me too.
I always wanted to be on that show.
Me too. I'm just like,
I had a strategy. I'm like, I'm gonna be so
Yes,
good at this.
I know.
yes. So it's like he had plenty. Like he grabbed like 2 boxes of syringes, a bunch of little bottles, and then like I love that she had plastic sheeting. Which, all right, you're a rural vet, fine. You need all the things at one time. You got your one big Costco order every quarter or some shit. I don't fucking know. So he grabs all the things, but he doesn't give Miles enough drugs. And Miles is what, like $1.25 soaking wet? It didn't take can't take that fucking much. So that was very confusing for me and very frustrating because I was like, what the fuck are you doing? What if you were gonna go beat the shit out of him, just go beat the shit out of him. If that was your plan B, that should have been your fucking plan A. But because Dexter, like he's kind of like, like a sexually pent up man, he's got all that baby batter in the brain, so he's got to get it, but he has to kill to have that release so then he can think clearly, because we see that in the original series where shit gets too tense and he can't cope. That's his drug, that's his escape. So but because now, he's only killed Matt, he's kind of dipping his toes back into being the serial killer, and throwing in the emotional stress with Harrison. He's not thinking clearly. He's acting irrationally and very emotionally for a psychopath that doesn't have emotion, supposedly. So I find it it was very frustrating because he's making all these like rookie mistakes that, like season 4 Dexter wouldn't have made. And so, but it's a lot of fun to watch and he does a really good job with it. I also think that the lack of Deb is because he's so focused on getting these kills, whether it's Miles or who was the other guy? The gamer guy? Jasper. So he's just got his blinders on. He's going for Miles. Now he's going for Jasper. And he fucking hugs Esther. When was the last time Dexter? How is that not a red flag? That is running around Miami and kill clothes, obvious red flag.
But that's probably a Jim thing. That's probably a Jim thing.
But either way, Jim still doesn't come across as a hugger. How many times do you think he's actually hugged Esther? I know y'all are Facebook official, and bless Esther. So, and then he sets everything up to get Jasper. And again, I said the same fucking thing. I'm like, he hasn't done any recon. He doesn't know who all lives there, how many people are there, who's hiding around the corner. What if there's a fucking like kid sleeping in one of the rooms or something? You know what I mean? Oh, so stressful. And I loved it so much. And then he brings enough drugs to knock out Jasper, and then plastics the room, right? And still sets up like pictures of like the ODs and stuff. Like this is like lighting the candles and like treating yourself to like a nice bath and some Al Green. He's gonna get his release, but he's gonna do it right. He's gonna treat himself. It's gonna be an evening to remember. But then the thing that drove me nuts was that just behind the plastic sheeting was the window with the fucking curtains open.
I know that was.
Are
really
you kidding
ridiculous.
me? Dude didn't have a basement. or what the fuck?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. That was so stupid.
It leads me to wonder, like, is Jimster the sloppy one, or is it the writers? Because I what is going on?
I don't know. That was I was like, what the fuck? And then, for a second, I was like, he should just like stab the dude and then leave and just leave it all up. Fuck it, just run. But then, yeah, that would, because they figured out Bay Harbor used the plastic sheeting and all of that, right? Okay. Been a while. So I guess he couldn't, because then that would be a dead giveaway that either there's a copycat Bay Harbor or Bay Harbor Butcher is back. So the forced OD and everything and setting them up, and okay, fine, you lucked out there, but damn, that shit was fast. How do you dress a dead body, a lifeless body so quickly? I'm not asking for any tips or anything. I need to logistically know how the fuck that happened.
I know. That was pretty.
Who
That
are
was
you
like,
trying to Weekend at Bernie's?
Oh shit, that movie.
yeah, that was pretty. I mean, the open window though to me was the worst part, because I'm like, why in the world would he do that? That was probably the most egregious thing I think he did during that. Was just like, seriously, you're leaving that window wide open. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was,
like, okay, first of all right, so Logan shows up with a whole army, which how and why for
I know that was weird too. That was weird too.
Yeah, like he brings in like a SWAT team and like the SEALs, and like
they're flying in from the helicopter.
Yeah, like they took off a whole force from a base somewhere and just brought them all in for this. Like there's
just for Jasper.
And like mall security guards just in case.
Mall security guards.
Paul Blart's there, and holy shit.
Yeah. All to take down this small time drug maker who lives in a little suburban house.
Yeah.
I know, that was so funny. I was like, I thought it was just gonna be Logan.
Yeah. That would have made a whole lot more sense.
Logan and Teddy and
yeah, that would have been fun, and that would have made sense. And you did not need that amount of firepower to make the point about Logan and about Dexter. And like, how did Dexter unwrap him, dress him so fast when he's lifeless? It's so much harder when somebody is just boneless. Like, have you ever tried to like forcibly dress a toddler?
I was just gonna say that.
Yes. Somewhere else. So
yes.
And those suckers are tiny, and they're just completely uncooperative, and you're like stuffing chubby little legs into pants, and it does not take you 32 seconds to do that. So somehow Dexter managed to unwrap and dress a cadaver and pose him, take him to a whole other room and pose him. And also, okay, so did he clean up the scene? Like, did he take down the tarps? Because like, did he not leave like little
I was thinking that too.
Tacks or something, or nail holes or whatever.
Maybe they're just thinking he's doing construction or work in that room, and so he had the tarps up for the work. I don't know.
I freaking guess. And just like, like a table and all of this saran wrap, and just make it make sense, writers. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
Or don't, just because it gives us more to talk about. It gives us more content.
Well, everybody's covered all the error parts, so I won't talk about that. And I'm surprised that Jen wasn't like going off about this scene just now, but
okay, so I will. All right. So so when he almost and then didn't kill Jasper, I was like, yes, no shit, god damn it, because then the cops are storming. So it was, I mean, I loved that like half a second where he's just like, fuck it, and he brings it down. Like, even my husband, we're just like, yes, and then they pan back and we're like, no. And then we were like, what are you doing? So that was my reaction to all of that. It's really
It was
hot down.
a lot.
It's hot in the pod basement right now.
Yeah, that's why I was like, because the Twitter account, Dexter Moments is what it's called. Let me just
I'm
make
sorry, I
sure I'm
just
getting
looked down
that.
at Carla.
Oh, but that account, you know, they tweeted out that scene, and I retweeted it with with one of those like, it's too hot in here things. Like,
Like
this is
this.
how I pictured Jen was during this whole scene.
That got a lot of
But
likes. That got a lot of
I know.
likes.
Because I think everybody was like that. That is the weird thing about this show, is Dexter is not someone you should at all be like, ooh, Dexter. But when he does that, when he's got someone tied up there, when he's in his Dexter mode, like his pure anger, and it's not even anger, it's just like his pure, like, I'm just watching two people fanning themselves while I'm talking about this. But when he's in his pure Dexter mode, killing mode, and his like, he is like turned on. He is like completely turned on while he's doing this, which is very weird to talk about in this way. That's like, oh, that's really sexy. But it's because it is. I mean, as wrong as that is, there's something really, really sexy about it, because it's like this, you don't know, he seems really in control. As stupid as some of the mistakes are that he made, he seems really in control, really powerful. It's the only time he seems like completely 100% sure of himself, because he never seems that way ever. Like, you know, like he said, he's always alone, and he's always walking in the world just feeling completely alone. And when he's in Dexter kill mode, he's not. He's like, this is my purpose, this is what I'm good at. Even though I keep fucking up, I'm still good at it. And so he's a totally different being, a different animal. He's like just pure instinct, pure, like, this is what I'm going to do, pure, I don't give a crap what you're even going to fucking say to me. He doesn't care what any of them say. He kind of likes it. He kind of gets off on it. He likes intimidating them. He likes, it's like, you know, and the way he said, I'm a great fucking father, like the way he said that was really like, whoa, because I don't even think he would say it in that way if he wasn't in Dexter mode. He's like just this pure, it's like this ball of like every guy that you should never ever want to be with, that you should never be around, wrapped up in this one little ball of like sexual pent up energy. And like, I hated Hannah, but it's like the scene with Hannah in when he has her tied up and he's about to kill her, and instead he like undoes the wrapping and they just fuck. I mean, right there, they just go. I mean, and to me, that's the kind of energy he gives off in every single one of those scenes. And he's scary as hell. He's so flippin' scary and terrifying when he's in that mode. But there's something so flippin' sexy about it. And it's a very conflicting feeling, because I'm like, this should not be sexy, but it could also just be the way Michael C. Hall is playing that, honestly. I don't think he wants people to get turned on by him. I'm just saying.
I don't know about that. I don't.
Well, I mean,
I think he's thrown a little bit in there.
He's
for
like, yeah,
us.
Here you go, Jen.
Yeah, but it's, you know, it's like you said,
he watched.
He's focused and he's determined. And what person isn't kind of drawn to someone that is focused and determined? They know what their goal, very goal oriented, and work on their time management skills. But it's also the one time he gets to be him.
Yes.
And truly just kind of let go. So we see this kind of corny Dexter, you know, trying so hard and to be, quote, normal and fit in and do all the normie things and shit. And sometimes it's very cringy because they're like, yeah, you don't have any fucking social skills. Just so to finally see him just be him and be good at being him, you're just like, yay, I like it. Do it again.
Yes, it's very sexy. It's very,
Yeah.
that's why I said yes, you can take control.
Yes.
That's perfectly fine.
And I also, I don't remember if I ranted so hard. I don't remember if I said this, but like the lack of Deb, because he's slipping more
Yeah.
into Dexter and less Jim. He went full Dexter this episode. I don't see Deb as his dark passenger, but more of his like dark conscience.
Yeah.
And so with him going full Dexter, she's not going to be there. She tried to be there to stop him with Matt. Clearly, none of that worked or anything, but now he's so just got the blinders on and all pent up that I don't think there was room for Dark Deb in
Mhm.
in his mind in this episode. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's going all in and I'm going all in too. Let's
Well,
let's go.
it also reminds me of like the run of the series, that in the beginning there was a lot of Harry and you saw him
Mhm.
just constantly, and then you started seeing less and less and less and less of him as Dexter devolved and as he became more um he did become more sloppy and more just he was chasing his thrill so much that he wasn't really as focused as he had been in the beginning. So he starts
Mhm.
making a lot more mistakes, a lot more slip ups, and just letting some things go that he shouldn't have. So it does mirror that, but it's like happening so much faster. Again, probably because you have such a shorter run. Um, but yeah, we start out. Deb's practically like camped out there. They're best of buddies, and they're just having calm conversations over coffee. And now all we see is Deb shouting at him when we do see her, and in this episode where he is just so, to me he was more like out of control because he was making so many mistakes and he was just moving, and he didn't even have time to really listen to his guardian angel telling him, hey, listen, maybe you shouldn't be so sloppy, maybe, hey, go pick up the syringe, like,
Mhm.
number one
Yeah.
rule is don't get caught and you doing everything counter to that.
He just
um,
is working so hard to bust that nut. He's not doing all the things he needs to not get caught.
there's no lube, there's no prep, there's no foreplay. It's
No.
all going sideways.
As Susie would say, we're going in dry.
Stop. Oh,
Sorry.
Lordy. No, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and because of time and because of Fergie, we're going to wrap this one up. Not the way Dexter was wrapping things up, because that was very but
Alright.
I do want to just say also, please go check our Redbubble store out. We have a couple of new items. If you're a Destiel fan, go check that out. If you're a Christian effing Bale fan, which if you are not and you listen to our podcast, I mean, he's our unofficial mascot, people. So we have new items there. Go check out the social media. If I had time, sorry, for time wise, I'm not going to show all the pictures, but we have new stuff there. Pretty soon, we're going to have stuff that references Lord of the Rings, stuff that references fanfic, horror, stuff that references Finn Rock. I mean, sorry, it's going to happen.
What? It's so surprising.
Stuff that for Eurovision, I'm not sure what that, so they're all going to be rolled out slowly. I haven't seen all of them yet, so Erin's working, she's going away for a while. Away, she's going on vacation. I don't mean it this bad way.
Wow.
And colonized Mars
Hey.
for a few years.
Yeah, she's taking she's gonna be gone for like a week and a half or 2 weeks, so it might be a while. She was gonna try and get some up there tonight. I don't know if she will. If she does, we'll roll them out slowly, because I thought it'd be better than just dropping them all at once. So they are pretty cool. I think they look amazing, so go check them out. Yeah, and with the stickers, she set it up so you get a sticker that says the podcast, it's a Fandom Thing Pod, and it's a Destiel thing, it's a Christian effing Bale thing, it's all the things that are coming. All the things that are coming. Anyway, sorry. Sorry. But anyway, yeah. So if you both want to say where you can be found, Carla.
Yes, I can be found where my podcast can be found. You can find my podcast Bedwet or Behead Podcast, which I co-host with Meg on Twitter at bedwetbeheadpod, on Instagram at bed.wet.behead.pod. Other places, if you want, just look for Bedwet or Behead Podcast, and the podcast itself can be found wherever you find your podcasts.
Thank you. And Jen?
You can find me on Twitter at Streaming Bubble, and Facebook and Instagram, My Streaming Bubble. And then the podcast itself can be found everywhere, except for like Pandora. That seems like impossible to get in. You gotta fill out a form. The fuck? So not Pandora, but like everywhere else.
I didn't even know Pandora was still around.
I know, right? And now they're trying to be all hoity-toity, like, oh, you gotta sign some shit. Now I'll pass. So,
That's hilarious. Yes, yes. And she just released on Sunday, this past Sunday, John Waters' episode that I am on as well.
Thank you for plugging my show, because I clearly suck and can't do that.
I understand what you're saying, though. I was at a thing this weekend and I was talking about the podcast and kind of, hyping up things. And I felt like I am being so annoying. People are like, probably like, shut up. But you kind of have to do it sometimes. So yeah. And this is Erin. You can follow me on Twitter at eAprilBeauty. The E and the A and the B are capitalized. Be sure to like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/itsafandom-thing-pod. On Twitter at fandomthingpod. No, it's in that one. On Instagram at itsafandom-thing-pod. On TikTok. Sounded like it's a TikTok.
with bravado, too.
TikTok.
All over my microphone.
That's a new social media app. It's refreshing. It refreshes your breath. We're gonna have an end of the year. It's actually gonna be in the new year. It's gonna be on the 2nd of January, but we're gonna have an end of the year celebration, and I'm gonna be putting together a bunch of bloopers. So I'm sure that TikTok will magically make it there. But no, on TikTok at It's a Fandom Thing Pod. If you would like to be a potential guest on the show, Michael C. Hall, please feel free to reach out to me personally at I'm just kidding.
Reach out personally and physically, realistically.
At itsafandom-thing-pod@gmail.com. And keep an ear out. Next Wednesday, we are dropping our Dexter podcast episode. There will be a new voice joining us, Megan. So Megan has not been on any of the live streams. She's very anonymous. She just never wants to give away where she can be found. She's our only anonymous panelist. It's not anonymous like we've never seen her. It's just mysterious.
Look, we've seen her. You all just don't get to see her.
Yeah, you don't get to see her. We've seen her. I've seen her in person. I've even touched. I've not touched her. I've given her a hug.
Whoa, Erin. Whoa.
Okay.
But anyway,
friend Megan, not Dexter. So
yeah. She's not back there. Don't worry. Other people are still back there. There are not really people back there, by the way. I always want to say that because I'm like, I'm going to be on some or something. There really isn't. Okay. I'm very low. Sorry. Okay, we're going to end.
It's just a rack full of empty, lonely handcuffs, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have this.
Hey.
Sorry. It was only because it was right in front of my face. Even though his erotic thriller has been canceled from being released. So anyway, I'm glad I had this to come from me.
Your wish list must be so very NSFW.
Mm-hmm.
Your Amazon wish list.
Yep, I could see it. She's not denying it.
I know, that's what I'm looking at.
So good night.
Bye.
Bye.